Been in, especially investment real estate, for any period of time, you've heard the following objection. All right, well, you tell me that's great. My property's worth 6 cap. Well, that's fantastic, but if I sell, what do I buy? Or a version of that could be, I bought it at an 8 cap. You're telling me the property's worth a 6 cap, but if I sell, I'm just gonna have to go buy another 6 cap, so I'm really not trading up. So, yeah, you've heard that? Everybody's heard that, okay? If you haven't heard that, it's because you haven't presented a proposal or you haven't made a cold call. So I want to talk about 2 different ways that we overcome that objection. Okay, now certainly part of that discussion, which we'll get to later, is how do we engage the market to maximize probabilities of finding an upleg for somebody if they're going into a 1031 exchange or even if they're just paying cash, but most of the time the private clients are doing a 1031. You can't offer a guarantee there because remember, again, it depends on finding a willing seller. But there is one other problem when that objection comes up, and that has to do with the motivation of the potential seller. Do they have enough reason to try to take that risk or to want to take that risk? So one of the tools we're going to talk about is the ROE, or the return on equity analysis. Philosophically, this is a really important thing to do with your potential sellers. And part of the reason has to do with what I call the investor mindset versus the landlord mindset. When people own real estate for a long time, it's very easy to slip into a pure landlord mindset. They're worried about tenant acquisition or tenant retention or property management issues, deferred maintenance, things like that. Those are all very critical to maintaining the value of your investment. But quite often people don't take a minute to just step back and say, all right, I'm running this property day to day, but should I still even own this property? Or do I have a lot of underutilized equity in this property that might allow me to expand my portfolio? Could I refinance at better rates and terms that would improve my cash flow? Because oftentimes what we find is that they could actually improve their overall return, even if they have to get out in the market and buy a 6 cap like everybody else is. The difference is rather than just being that broker who's an order taker and says, okay, you want to sell? Great, I'm your person. I'm happy to list your property. We're really giving people an opportunity to step into that investor mindset and decide what their best option is in the marketplace. And it might be to hold, but remember that holding should never be as a result of not knowing what else to do. It should be a result of knowing what your options are and knowing that holding is the best of all of them. Okay? So the return on equity analysis is the primary tool that we use to take a prospective seller through that process.